we get 0.494 grams per day. Nothing can ever compare to natural if we understood the whole process, the whole concept of the biomimicry. This is the whole food chain cycle. We can grow shrimp of black tiger, dynamite, and others as well. But don't take this one for only shrimp. You can take this one for fries, fingerings, other fish as well. And this is what we just showing. The size, this one is a little bit bigger than the one we got. Because when we reach 12 inches, we have a long waiting list to deliver to the hatcheries. It has never been available, but today is something very special. We brought 12 pieces live. And actually, we brought 30 kilos of black tiger, but each one of us can take one kilo. But it's good. The texture, the meat is much different than ordinary. After cooked, this is what the color looks like. The salmon red is above 30. Nothing ever matches the color red of our black prawns. So this is something very, very special. I hope the chef will cook this, steam it just like the way it is, so you can see the coloration. And it's for the Chinese people, this red has been fortunate. It's been well held and prosperous. So this is not only the Chinese market, sashimi, but it's the whole Chinese market and whole international marketplace for this coloration. This is fabulous. Imagine if we can do a natural feed like this easily. And if we develop the system like yesterday, we have 1 hectare, 2 hectare of mussels like this, using 4,000, 8,000 row to grow mussels. Develop a good system, which means we can have a higher stocking densities, feeding them with mussel, crush them, and feed our shrimp in higher stocking densities. This is the beginning of the step of our thinking. Later stage, we will develop the same system as we witnessed yesterday, but we have a food chain system growing mussel to feed our intensive farming later on stage. This is an ongoing process. So it's continually, that's what we learn, this is what we learn. And then all this one, you can take this one as something, a new challenge, and then maybe we can help each other to develop a better things. No more destructive to the natures. No more catching fish, fishing fish. No more catching fish, make pellet, feeding shrimp. This is the revolution of the food chain cycle. It's done by using 1 ppm of rice bran per day. 1 ppm is only 10 kilos per hectare, feeding 2,000 rows of mussel, equivalently to 80,000 kilograms of mussel. What happened in that pond? The alkalinity will drop down below 100. So no need to be worried, because the pH in that system is so constant. So you don't need high alkalinities to grow shrimp with this system. Now is the time for a short question and answer before we take a break. And after the break, we come back for another interesting section, which is differently than the biomimicry. And we'll try to get everything fixed as soon as possible. Sorry for cutting this.
The muscle with the ice cream. I think you have to suspend it. So how do you
Use the boats. Because we have the boats and we have 1 paddle wheels, 12 paddles running, so that it keeps the currents like waves in the water. It's not providing oxygen because we are not loading organic.
Just suspending the.
Let's just keep the paddle wheels running as to move the currents. And when we feed the shrimp, the amphipods and the mussel with rice bran, we use the boat to disperse it around the system every day. And the way we see it, if the water too clear, which means the rice bran is lacked. So maybe you increase to 1.5 ppm if they consume a lot much more than that. But if you open up the pond, there's no crab so much because mussel will grow also on the bottom of the pond.
So you are meaning if you make it a pond a little bit different, you use a stick to check that.
You can see the bottom of the pond.
Okay.
But if the pond is too clear, which means there's no poroids, when we do the fermentation on the rice bran, we produce the poroids. It's like a rice bran milk. We feed the mussel with rice milk, and they grow very fast. Yes, please.
I wondered if it's possible to culture this species in different countries than Asia. Like this is the Asian tiger shrimp. So is it possible to do it in a hot country for the viability as well? And if yes, what's the smoking density to be able to do this?
This is the first step of studies on the biomimicry. They are different, but mostly we have done overseas. Is mainly in Gujarat, India. That's the highest we are going in the higher salinities. Their salinity is about 40s, but not a full concept of biomimicry yet. It's a semi-biomimicry concept. It's still growing quite well. Actually, with this natural food chain cycle using the mussel amphipods, you can grow any type of shrimps, invertebrates, even crabs. Any invertebrate can consume this. This is a natural food that happened already existed in the mangroves area. We just mimic the mangroves into the system in situ and apply them with the food to grow out. And what happened is that we achieve to produce the natural feed in situ at high level of densities of mussel. This is something very, very special. And the cost of investment for this production of mussel to feed the whole farm, imagine 80,000 kilograms of mussels. How many hectares shrimp pond you can feed? You can go up to 10 hectares, 20 hectares. Because when you take out the mussel, you use that same rope, put it back. And imagine 2,000, 4,000 rope, start from 1 day, 2 days, 2,000 days. It's endless. It's endless speed. If you understand not overfeeding the rice bran, that's it. The only parameter we have is that don't keep the water too clean and don't have the water too much colloids. If you have too much colloids, the oxygen will drop very fast. That's the only technique that you can apply this technology anywhere in the world, even the high salinities.
About this system, so you said that you prepare the pond. First you grow up the copepods, right? Then the mussels, or?
This system is a different one that we have solved yesterday.
Yes, but in this
we use, it's called bioremediation. We use the ponds problems. We do the piling, we do chain draggings, we do probiotic screening, and we leave it there. The first thing you will have is the bloodworms and sandworms. That's the first priority things you will have. After you add rice bran, then you start to have copepods. That's the secondary process that you have. The mussel will colonize itself while we're doing the bioremediation process. So we leave the mussel net inside the pond while we're doing the chain draggings and while we do the pounding. And once the system establishes itself, everything comes nearly the same time. once the pond has been prepared.
So it takes like around 3 months just to prepare the whole system, right? Before starting the shrimp.
After 3 to 6 months.
Then
We done this first we done this in the reservoirs. The reservoir were useless, so we apply this technology into the reservoir. We grow the mussel, we grow everything in the reservoir. And then, if you want to grow the mussel inside the system of the grow out, first you use chain draggings, bioremediations, and you use the ropes, tied it in. You pump the water from that reservoir, they will have mussel eggs everywhere. When you pump in the seed to the grow out pond, you brought in all the seeds again. And while you're doing that, within a few months later, the mussel will colonize on each rope itself. And while you're doing that, you also have the bloodworms and the tophipod. You can start to stock. Once shrimp it grow big enough, they will start to grow on mussel itself. So it's a sequence how we do the first phase. If you have an empty parts of land, doing nothing in the reservoir, maybe you have to find some good seeds on the mussel and try to colonize them. And if they grow on your net, your system is coming to be a perfect. The trick is, if you change sudden water a little bit, you pump in new water, immediately the mussel produce seed. You shock the environment, they're afraid they will be extinguished. They will produce immediately eggs. You pump in that water into your pond. In a few weeks later, you will see a free swimming mussel everywhere. This is the only trick that we are applying to the system. So if we have 10 more ponds, 20 more ponds, we do the same process like this. And we have mussel everywhere. Any more questions, please? This one is they colonize. It's like they colonize. We need something that they colonize in a large group, so the amphipods can leave them as home. Because the techniques of growing amphipod is very tricky. I grew the whole hectare amphipods before, but when we stop shrimp, amphipod disappear. But amphipod is good choice. They are 4 to 8 millimeters long, very big. All shrimp, all fish can love amphipods. We have established using the rice bran, growing the amphipod, the whole system, very fast. But once you stop shrimp, especially bigger shrimp, amphipod disappear because they don't have homes. Techniques of growing amphipods is where you have some place where they can hide themselves to reproduce their cell, they reproduce their eggs. And amphipod continuously giving birth every minute. That's the magic of nature. They continue producing the newborn one every minute. So it's like you are having the whole system full of food, but if you must have a home for them. So you have some place where shrimp cannot immediately take them as food. So if you colonize a mussel, inside the mussel, shrimp cannot go inside. It's a whole bunch of amphipod living. And that's the nature has given us. So if we understood this, the horse mussel, they colonize as home for the amphipods.
So, after the harvest, how do you start the cycle again?
Once this system established, there is no open harvest. We do a fish long, to catch a fish. We put the lights there. If you want to have let's say 100 kilos or 30 kilos today, we put lights and use only one net. Within 6 hours, 8 hours maximum, you have all the shrimp inside. You just remove it. So you calculate how much you taking out every month. Then you receive it, the amount you took out every month. So it's whatever you took out, you make money, you receive it to grow, to make more money. The cycle continuously, eternity, no harvest.
So you do not need to treat the water again.
No, this is natural biofiltration technology. There is no more chemical requirement, no more feedings, nothing. You spend 15 minutes a day at the farm, the rest is free time. And no need to be worried how much to feed, how much they grow. They can grow 0.5 grams a day without buying anything else. This is the whole natural process. And it's suitable for countries have big lands. A lot of people hungry worlds without having a big investment. Give for them. For intensive farming is another session that we'll be going to be speaking for the next session. Anything else, please? You can. We had experience growing the vitamin as well. We brought some vitamin. I think the vitamin we have is much bigger than the bull stock ever seen. It grows about the same size, but about 25% less than the black tiger. Black tiger is a giant vitamin. Our vitamin is big, but not as big as the giant. But the meat of the vitamin with this system is much better than any meat we ever tasted. It's all natural, fully organic. A lot of countries turn into organics, but they use large land, two pieces per square meter. But we are doing 20 pieces per square meter. We can do up to 50 pieces per square meter. If we are developed a system like what we have yesterday and feed them, we have to establish a pond with food pond, a grower pond, RAS ponds. So we can use that food ponds to feed our biofilm RAS system. We get free food to feed our biowater, and recycling the water, we get free fish. So the system is integrated. It's not only what we have established, it will be fully integrated very soon.
I have a question. Yes. I really like the idea about the integrated aquaculture system. However, you're talking about organic, and you're saying that there's no regulation, yes, so no actual label. Are you not afraid that when there is an actual certification, you will not be able to implement the system because you will have to raise maximum 20 shrimp per square meter, have an organic feed? It's a big struggle, and I know that I come from a big Venus monodon farm in Madagascar, 400 hectare, organic label for European standards, and the regulation is very, very strict. And then my question is, okay, this does work, but will it be economically viable if you go from 140 shrimp per square meter like you do now to 20 shrimp per square meter, because you'll be limited to the organic certification of the country, or European standard, which is even worse?
For the time being, what we have been doing in the past years, we are developing the system and trying to convince the small farmers to be able to understand the concept of natural feed. So the organic standard, that's a different categories. But we are working through the system. But the regulation is quite difficult than what we are expecting to see much more degree. A lot of people ask me, just promote it as a bioshrimp. Don't promote it as an organic shrimp. But we do organically. But the shrimp is not being taxed or being labeled as organic. The technique is organic. But selling, we have never sold yet to food processors, mainly to hatcheries, and mainly to famous restaurants. Whatever we produce is a list of food line customers. We have never able to have a kilo for ourselves, but today we brought it. Because once a restaurant chef tastes it, they will never buy shrimp in the market. The texture, the coloration, the taste is sweet. It's sweet like wild caught shrimp. So this is something that, imagine we had a meeting with all the 5-star chef hotel here in Thailand. Whatever we produce, please have them on the first priorities. And their priorities is much less than what our priority. Our aims is over 200 grams. But they want only 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. That's much easier. But time by time, when we expand this system, we are not expecting to sell this as an organic tax. We are expecting to promote as an organically produced production way, by selling them as a bioshrimp for the time being, until we get more supportive how the system functions, how it works, and I hope someday that those organic organizers come to see our methods and they will change their mind. This is much more easier than the one they are trying to implement. And it's higher standard than what they're doing. They treated the water with chlorine. They treat it with chemical and they claim as organic. But we don't treat any chemical. We are much upper level, but we cannot say that. But the way we're doing it, we only mimic from the nature to the pond. So your comment is very, very British, and we will work on that, try to find ways to get into organic certification, but that's gonna be a long way. Let's do it for bioshrimp for the companies. Yes.
And in this way, they skip, the problems with diseases and things like this. So this is just a strategy to compensate and with good prices, because they cannot reproduce. So this is because some people there is working with 5 or 7 animals per year.
But if you know
but the concept is different because they use pellets.
Yes, but if you look roughly through this concept, we use 20 pieces initially, and we select only 10% to grow into the different ponds, which means whichever grow slower, we sell those to the restaurant. But whichever one grow faster, we move them to another pond, only 2 pieces per square meter, and grow them for another 8 months, 14 months total, and that's what we're having to see today. So the process is a little bit different. We can do semi-intensive farming. For 20 pieces per square meter, if you want 20 counts, about 50 grams, you can have them in 6 months or less. And if we full harvest, we already make enough in terms of economically, and without using any investment fee